Hey everyone, welcome into the show, the Rainmaker Podcast. I'm your host, Earl Hall. Man, we've got a good one for you today, fresh off of 8% Nation as well as the Ultimate Agent. We've got Johnny Nitafan right here with us. So let's talk about it. Johnny is in the house.
Boom,
How you doing, my
baby.
friend? Yeah. How you doing, man?
Good, man.
What's good? What's good?
Let's go, baby. Dude, this is awesome. I'm grateful that you had me on, man. I feel honored and privileged. It's awesome, dude. I saw your interview yesterday with Moon, and that looked fun. So I'm excited to have a fun time, bro.
Oh yeah, absolutely, man. You know, I love to have fun here, man. I mean, you were the youngest contestant on the Ultimate Agent. What was that like for you? It's like when you got the note, when you got the email, it's like you're in. What's going through your mind right at that point?
Right? Yeah. No. I mean, like getting picked. Like we're literally, my wife and I are sitting next to each other. Cody calls our name on that on the the Zoom call, right? The live showing, and my name gets picked, and I'm like, dang, this could change my life, right? Like I'm so excited, I can't wait. And literally, Cody put us all in a group text the next day, and he's like, how do you guys feel? Like, congratulations, this is awesome. And I said, I'm coming to win.
Wow.
I'm not coming to just have fun.
I love it. So
I was like, okay, trying to plant some seeds of real estate, get in their head a little bit from the jump. So just a little bit of fun trash talk, right?
Oh, absolutely, man. I mean, 20 years old. How long have you actually been in? When did you get in the industry?
Yeah, so I got in the industry. So I got married almost a year ago, actually.
Wow, congrats.
And
Congrats.
so I got a picture of my wife here.
Oh yeah, let's see. Oh, beautiful pic. Beautiful.
Yeah. So
Love that.
But yeah, we got married, and so actually her father, like her dad, my father-in-law, is in the insurance industry. And so that's how I got in. And so I started in December as one of his preferred vendors in terms of just going group to group. So it's funny because Moon and I did the same thing. I just started with the group benefits as well.
Wow.
And so the team that I was with just came from Aflac, and they went independent. They were done with the captive model. So they went independent, and I worked with them for about 4 months. Saw Cody, and I started liking what life insurance was. And so I was like, shoot, I need to get into this. So pretty much got into it. And so I've only been doing life insurance now for about 4.5 months.
Wow.
So yeah. So on the show, I was only 5.5 weeks in. This is my 6th week in life insurance.
But
So,
you were
yeah.
good, man. I mean, obviously being around Cody and Dallas and the rest of the crew that were there, you were in this contained space, you guys, right? And like it was intense, I'm sure. And I don't know if there would have been any other training that would have been better than that, because you guys got thrown into the fire, doing a lot of things, but you won a lot of challenges, early on with what it was that you guys were doing. Do you feel better or more comfortable like on the phone or door to door?
Oh, way more comfortable telesales. So pretty much I was virtual, right? I was on Zoom. I did that. But then what ended up happening was after that challenge, I decided after the contest, I decided I'm never doing face-to-face again. So I decided made that decision, because in that moment, as you guys saw, when I was doing actually in my element, being able to sell, what I was doing, I did well. But then I changed and flipped that, right? And then I stopped doing so good. So I was like, I'm going to just hone in on my process. And literally from here on out, I'm just going to hone in. So I just did telesales. After that, I haven't looked back. I haven't seen a client on Zoom or face-to-face. I've just done straight telesales since then.
That is
baby.
awesome. Exactly.
Yeah,
Boom, baby. Look, that's going to be your hashtag. Boom, baby. I got to put that in the show notes.
Yes, sir. Yep. Boom, baby. I love it. That's awesome.
Since your experience on the show, and you were at 8% last week, right? As well.
Yep,
I mean,
totally.
What was that for you because this is obviously the first time you've ever done anything like this.
Right.
Being at 8% and being around that energy, what was that like for you?
Oh, it was really good. It was honestly it was interesting because I'm honestly, it's crazy because it's such a niche market, right? You got Cody who throws on that show. It's got over 30,000 views on YouTube right now. If you haven't watched it, go check it out.
Absolutely.
But like it's such a niche market, right? So he does a whole show, and then he hosts a conference, so that's literally all the viewers
Mm-hmm.
from the YouTube, right, is on, like, on from the show, is like literally there in person.
Yeah.
So all the people in messages, all the people who have been calling us, texting us, emailing us, connecting with us, whatever it is, like we see them in person.
Yeah.
And so sometimes it was a little overwhelming, but honestly, like I just really try to stay present and stay like just really dialed in with the people I was with, give them the attention, because they chose to either one, send a message, they chose to take time out of their day
Mm-hmm.
to come up to me, give me a compliment, whatever it is. And so I felt really privileged and grateful for that, but it was like a
Yeah.
mini glimpse of what a celebrity's like, right?
Yeah.
And
Exactly.
so that made me that was really fun.
I mean, you walk in the room and everybody knows who you are, right? And it's like everybody wants you. I
Yep.
mean, how many autographs did you sign, Johnny? You know?
I did sign one, and I was like, honestly, like, I need my wife's. I gave the phone picture to, like, I gave my wife the camera, and I
Mhm.
said, hey, take a picture of this, because this is like the first of many. So
Exactly.
I'm excited. It was really cool.
Well, I mean, now what is your life insurance business like at this point? It's like you learned a lot of stuff, and
Yeah,
I'm sure you're taking advantage of all that. What are some of the
totally.
things that you're doing different now that you weren't doing before the show? Like, what have you honed in on for yourself?
Yeah, good question. I mean, honestly, I've stayed in touch. Nate's taught me a lot about how to like sell. Honestly,
Hmm.
I partnered with Roger and with Brian as well, with Impact Legacy, and so that's really cool. But I think Nate and I have kept a lot in contact in terms of how to build a team, how to grow and expand. As agents are literally flying to me and just like trying to just wanting to work with us, right?
Yeah.
So my wife and I've been interviewing probably 10 different people of like who we need to hire. So we just hired our first uh, employee yesterday, and we got two more that we're looking to hire probably here in the next day or two. So it's growing a lot, but I mean, sales are just going through the roof. I've actually learned how to sell a lot
Yeah.
and in mass volume and telesales. And so,
Wow.
I mean, I've had tons of success for sure since then. Like what you saw on the show was like, when I said it, I meant it. Like that's going to be the worst you ever see me, because now
Yeah.
like things have absolutely exploded, like exploded.
Hmm.
So it's been awesome.
Well, I mean, you've won, even though you didn't quote unquote win, right, on the
Yeah,
show. It's like but you've gotten so much out of this, that it's just going to continue to propel you as long as you continue to execute, right? I mean, we all know that,
correct.
but when you talk about, like, if you want to talk about, like, what do you think you'll do in AP this year? What do you think that'll turn out to be?
Well, I've already passed 150,000 in like
Wow.
5 months or whatever. I did
Hold up. I
like
gotta, you gotta get the air horn on that. Boom, baby.
so
You got,
yeah. So like I mean, this year I don't know what I'm projected at.
hmm,
Like exactly. It's hard to tell, to be honest, but I think like I mean, it's consistently like last month did 60,000 on my own pen. This month, probably 50, 60, somewhere around there. Just like what I do, but then you add the agency volume. My goal is to be at 100,000 a month as an agency towards the end, and do that in a month. And then in a year from now, be at a 350, 400,000 a month as an agency. Cause we've onboarded 25 agents since the show came out, so it's like growing a lot. So it's a lot to handle. So my wife and I are like, literally, we need to hire people out because we can't, like, there's such an influx of business and people. So we need to have a streamlined process that makes it easy for the agent, but also the client as well. And so that I could continue to sell, because we need that. We need that production
hmm,
from me right now, because it's the continuous cash flow to be able to continue to get the machine going
yeah,
and continue, like, have it continue going. So getting those employees like set in stone, and then having her help with the onboarding process, follow up with the clients and all that,
hmm,
making sure that they get issued and approved and all that. But then we got hired a full-time social media person so that I
yeah.
could
You need one.
start getting away from the social media, because I want to do it. I mean, we want to like just go crazy and like what we're doing in terms of social media.
Yeah.
We want to like 10x our social media, but then it's easy to get sucked in on social media. So I'm like, honestly, I'd rather just have the quality go up and like literally like me consuming content go down, right? Because I obviously
Yeah.
do the self-development every morning, like Think and Grow Rich, like
Hmm.
different things like that to get my mind right. But it's like to get away from the social media, like literally delete the apps
Yeah. I mean,
probably
because those
throughout
your
the
phone's going to
week.
ding, ding, ding.
Yeah, correct.
With that, and
Correct.
a
So
lot of
it's
people
like
do
to
get
be able to
sucked into
have
that.
totally. And I
Hmm.
think I see that. And I'm like, honestly, I just want to focus on growing the business right now.
Yeah.
So it's like we can afford to do that. Get somebody that's really good. I've seen what he's done, which is really cool. I'm excited to work with him.
Hmm.
And so be able to get, because editing takes a little bit
Yeah.
and do all that stuff. So he's going to be producing. You'll see a lot more media coming out, like just
I
tons
love
of more
that.
content coming out. So I just film once, twice a week, and that's pretty much it. Send it off to him, and he's posting
What kind
every
of
day.
content are you looking to put out? Like, what are we talking about here? What are you going to be putting
Yeah.
out?
So I mean, just like the journey, documenting the journey, things I've
Yeah.
learned along the way.
Hmm.
I'm not an expert by any means, to be honest, but right now it's like, it could be so valuable for people to see the journey,
Yeah.
right? Because they're going
Definitely.
to be seeing it real time of what's happening, what's going on, what's happening behind the scenes, right? Of a young entrepreneur, 21-year-old trying to build a
Yeah.
business from the floor ground level. Because right
Exactly.
now it's so much like do or die, do or die. Like getting these employees, it's hard because I'm like, dang, we're putting a lot on the line, right?
Hmm.
But then at the same time, you got to hire quality people to have a good business.
How do you go about
So
like,
then
because
it's
you're
like,
getting, you
okay,
talked about 25 agents like coming in. It's like, how do you decide
yeah,
who you're going to let in Team Johnny? You know what I mean? How does that
yeah.
work for you?
Well, I've talked to John Wetmore a lot, and he's obviously built a massive team, done really well. His agency does 11 to 15 million a month
Wow.
in annual premium volume. And so I talked to him like, how'd you build, right? And he's like, it requires three things: that you're going to work as hard as your family, like for your family as I am mine, that you're going to be coachable, and that you're going to do what you're going to say you're going to do. So be able to set timelines like, hey, most people finish this life insurance course in about 2 weeks. Are you willing to, can you do that? If not, communicate. If not, I mean, he said he has this famous phrase like, I'll quit you before you quit me.
Yeah.
And so pretty much
Yeah.
having that
Hmm.
expectation, like as long as you do what you're going to say you're going to do, I'll give you my time and pour into you. But if not, then pretty much like that's it. Like I've had
Yeah.
people that like are very energetic. It's easy to be like, oh, this is an amazing opportunity, this and that, whatever. But at the same time, it's like if you're not going to do what you're saying you're going to do, then it's pretty much like, okay, this isn't going to be a fit. I've had to do
Yeah.
that before and it wasn't fun.
Hmm.
But you hire like you hire slow, fire fast. And
Gary
so
V.
it's like
Gary V says that.
having
Yeah.
exactly, it's having that, but the same expectation, right? If they're not
Right.
doing what they're saying they're going to do, if they're not following through, you just got to have the talk and be like, hey, one, it's not a fit, or two, like, hey, this is what I expect from you here on out. Can we agree with that? Yes. And if not, then you just move forward.
Yeah.
So I'm still learning it. I'm no expert by any means. I'm 4 months into this. I'm learning, I'm growing, but this is what
Right.
I've learned
Right.
so far and what I've been taught.
Well, I mean,
So
doing what you've done already in 4 months is an amazing feat for anyone. It's like, it's where I see you like in a year from now is just amazing. You know, just continuing to stay on the same line that you are, because life insurance is not an easy gig. You know,
no.
it's not. I mean, anybody that watched the show, and yeah, once again, you need to go on YouTube and watch Ultimate Agent and kind of see that. But I mean, when you were at that woman's door, and you know, she's like, I've got company, was she
Yeah.
talking to you through the door, or did she open the door?
No, she had it like half opened. Like she leaned her head in and that's pretty much it. And then the dog's barking in the back.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this complex is honestly like not the best apartment
Yeah.
complex.
Yeah. Okay.
And this is my first time door knocking ever. I'm like, geez, this is like, I don't really enjoy this at all.
Did you make up your mind like after that? Was that when you made up your mind? I'm not doing this anymore. Was
Yeah,
it?
I'm never doing this again. I mean, I made the decision, right? On the second day, I made the
Yeah.
decision I'm not going to do it, and then I did it the next day.
Wow.
And then I was like, "Oh my gosh, I'm not doing this again." like I actually made the decision, like I'm gonna trust myself and not do this again.
Wow, it's I've been in life insurance, and it's like we call it getting porched. Like when you show up to someone's house and you have an appointment, you literally have an appointment, and they don't answer the door, and you see them kind of peeking through the blinds, and it's all that kind of. We just call it you got porched. But those things happen on door knocks. But how do you handle? I mean, knowing that you're so good on the phones, and we kind of saw that as well. How do you handle like people not answering the phone or people saying, I didn't fill that out when they freaking did? Like what goes through your mind, and how do you get through that? And how can you help other agents maybe think a little different about it?
Well, honestly, like my mindset, to be honest, is like, what's the worst they could say, right? They can literally cuss you out, and literally you have the same opportunity. If they're going to cuss you out, like you could just hang up the phone too.
Yeah.
Like the worst thing that could happen is they literally cuss you out. And if they just hang up the phone, whatever, like some people, like if I'll like kind of go into the script or go into like talking about the mortgage protection, like, and they hang up, I'll call them right back and be like, it looks like we got disconnected somehow. I'm just
I've done
getting
that.
you the information. And so then sometimes like I've had it where like, oh yeah, like my phone died. I'm so sorry. So, I mean, my mindset's like the worst thing they could do is say like, I didn't fill out the form. I don't care. And then pretty much you overcome that like, oh, perfect. I totally understand. I know sometimes I don't even remember as well, like what I did this morning for breakfast. And so it's just my job as the case manager to get the information out to you. What you do with it after that really doesn't matter. I don't care. I could care less, but it's just my job. I just need to get it to you. I have your birthday here is 4/11.
Yeah.
Whatever, and you just go into it. I mean, you just overcome it.
Because a lot of agents die on the phones, man. I mean, a lot of agents die on the phone. I have to be honest. I mean, when I first got licensed in 1994, right? And I was with a captive agency, and then, with an IMO and stuff like that. And it's like, if I started, I could have 100 leads in front of me. And if the first 10 leads didn't like answer the phone, okay, I got to go do something else. I did not have initially that mental toughness. It's like, and you die on the phone. It's like this business is centered around the phone. That's why I kind of asked you that question. It's like how you deal with that mentally, because we do consulting and I talk to different agents all the time. And it's like, there's only a couple things that agents complain about. People, they don't answer the phone, or they say, I didn't fill that out, or they flat out hang up on me. Right. And I think the worst one is, I didn't fill that out. Really? I mean, was it you or was it someone else that like, well, is this your signature? No, I think when you were doing the contest.
It was that was the one that he literally cussed me out. And he's like, go, like, no, I'm not interested, in like slammed the door, took the paper, and like literally. Just to give you guys some context, that was actually the first door knock I ever did. So like, I know it showed it later in the series, like later in that episode, but it was actually the first one Brian and I went to.
Jeez.
So, and that was my first door knock ever. So I'm like, geez, this like, honestly, I don't like this, to be honest. Like this is, I know people make a living off of it, and some of my team does it as well.
Yeah.
And I honestly, like, I met up with them at 8%, and I'm like, hey, props to you guys. I don't know how you go up to like doors and be like, is Miss Betty home? Or like, hi, Miss Betty. I'm like, some mortgage protection's so different, right? It's just a different demographic. It's different. You can do telesales, all that. So
it is funny. I mean, but knowing what your lane is, because like, your lane is on the phone, right? The telesales part of it. Some people, they can't do phones. They got to go door to door. It's like, it just depends on the person and who they are. I mean, what are the conversations like now that the day is done, you and your wife are sitting in the living room or whatever? What are those conversations like now that all of this is happening?
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because we're talking this morning because this person who's really solid that we wanted to bring on in terms of like administration work and all that, and helping with appointment setting too, is like, geez, like this is like a lot to stomach, but at the same time, like this is what we need to be able to expand the business. And so like, we're not even close to where we want to go. It's cool because we're moving out of this apartment into another like bigger apartment, and actually a 2-bedroom. Cause this is if you guys follow me on Instagram, I posted about maybe 2 or 3 months ago.
What's your Instagram handle?
Yeah, my Instagram is Johnny Nitafan1, so JOHNNY Nitafan, and then one,
Yeah.
and then that's my Instagram. But I posted this thing, the first podcast I ever did, about 2 months ago, actually. It was just like emotional because I literally poured my heart out into that post because I'm like, it's a picture of me right here, and I'm like, I'm in a 550 square foot apartment,
Wow.
first home, like apartment that my wife and I have ever been in. And just to know, like, even like thinking about it now, it gets me emotional because I'm like, there's been so much hardship here. And like, it's still like, you got to constantly put your like guts on the line, but it's so worth it. Cause I know at the end of that, like you become the person that you're like meant to be. Right.
Mm.
And I really believe like at the struggle, the hardship, it's so, sometimes it's hard because you're like, I have $1,000 in the account, rent's due in a week, and I don't have any leads. So do I get the leads or not? Right. And
Mm.
sometimes it's like, shoot, what do I do? And then being able to put your guts on the line, like, hey, I'm just gonna do it. I'm gonna invest $1,000 in leads. And what happens, like, we have a lot of stories now that it's like we invested in that event. Like we invested in going into like power players and being able to be in a great network of people. We invested in this, and it was hard. We had nothing, and then all of a sudden things started to click. Boom. Like I remember one like time in my head, like I literally had $1,000 in the account. I was like, I want to have my best week of my life, and I want to spend a little bit more. So what I did is just spent 1,500, overdrafted the account by $500. And that week I ended up doing 25,000, issued 20 of it literally like
Oh,
instant,
wow.
right?
Wow.
And I just remember that moment because I'm like,
Yeah, I
dang,
can
like
tell. I can
my
tell it's emotional for you.
it's it is, right? Because it's like, dang, like this sucks. This is hard. Like
Yeah.
it's you don't know. Like not many people are willing to go $500 into debt, right? Into
Yeah.
that, like put some money on the credit cards. But then to know that like now things are actually starting to work out more. Like I know we're gonna face another obstacle, but it's
Sure.
more like we're kind of working our way out of it, right? Because it's like we invest in these different things, put our money on, like put it out there, and know that it's going to come back, and it's actually starting to come back faster than we ever thought. But then when you put that in, it's like, geez, this is a lot. Like this is a lot of money. And then you just
Yeah.
realize like, dang, you could like make that in a week. You can make that in a
In a
day.
day. Yeah.
Like, and that's kind of how you got to look at it. Like you look at it, you measure things differently. Like $500, like $2,000, 5,000 is not really that much
Mm-hmm.
in the grand scheme of things, right? So if you
Mm-hmm.
put that on the line, like new agents, if you're out there listening, like if you're out there, like if you're struggling, like this is hard. If you never quit, you can never fail. And I made the decision, I'm never going to quit this industry. I never will. So whatever it takes, if I have to buy a stack of 12-year aged leads, if I have to buy a stack and literally just dial all day, like I don't care. Like I'm just going to make it work. And when you get to that moment, and props to my wife because she's been the best support system through this,
Yeah.
because in those hard times she's like, I believe in you, like I
Oh
support you,
man. Yeah.
like I know this is going to work out. When you're in debt, this sucks. Like you put the money on the credit
Mm-hmm.
cards and you're like, I need more leads. Like what? You're like, you have the money in the like on the credit cards and you need more leads, like, but then to actually see it start working out, like it's just crazy to me. So back to the post, like 550 square foot apartment, and we're
Mm-hmm.
moving into a nicer one now. And like, we're not even buying a house yet because we're like, we'll keep the rent down still so that we can buy, like build our Airbnb portfolio next year.
Oh
But like
man.
our
Love
money
it. Love it.
the business. Our money needs to go into this business because this is our money machine. And once you get the money machine going, it doesn't stop. Like it literally just right now it's a lot better. Like deposit, 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 deposit. Things are coming in. It's
Mm-hmm.
actually working. But then it's
And you
like
have enough
reinvesting.
you have enough faith or whatever you want to call it because of all the struggles that you've been through, right? You're talking about putting
Yeah.
extra money on the credit card, overdrafting the account,
Yeah.
but it's like you know that if you do the work, it's going to come back. And once you
Correct.
see it once, especially if you see it twice, you have no problem betting on yourself because it's all about you. It's not about the lead source. It's not about the CRM.
Yeah.
It's Johnny. Johnny's going to make it happen. And every agent needs to I believe every agent needs to understand. And I say so many times, your success or failure is your fault. Period. Correct. You know, it's like if you look at your failures and you point to your failures saying, well, this is why I didn't, succeed. That's why I didn't succeed. Okay, you've just given all of your power to that thing you're pointing at. It was you just gave all of your power away. You have no control over anything. But I love your attitude, about this whole thing, and love that, that wife you got, that's a keeper. I mean, when you have a woman that supports you no matter what, I mean, especially about money things. Now, let's just be real. I mean, I've been married this year 18 years, so I've got a little years on you here. And my parents have been married 53 years at this point.
Wow.
Yeah, absolutely. This year was their 53rd wedding anniversary. But when you have a woman that will stand by you and push you to be your best self, that's a keep. And I'm glad I have that, But I chose a woman like my mom because that's what my mom is to my dad too.
Right. Yeah.
So, love it.
No, it's like those times are like, if you think about it, all the best stories of the success stories, all the best ones came with crazy obstacles.
Yes.
And when I was like in the obstacles and like when I was in those times, I literally like I had a like a mindset coach like help me out with this stuff, and I was like, dude, this sucks. Like I've put this much on the cards. I'm just buying leads, right? I'm doing this stuff. It's like I'm building my skill. And he's like, all the best stories, because I went to SWAT a week before then, and he's like, all the best stories you heard, like Pete Fournier, Nate Offer, John Wetmore, like Cody Askins, like you hear these stories and it's like, did this, failed, did this, 24,000 in debt, did this, $100,000 in debt, went homeless, went this, had to sleep on people's couches. You hear those stories and look where they are now. It makes the story even greater, right? And it makes it like nothing is as bad as you think it is. And that's one thing I picked up at 8% is nothing is as bad as you think it is, and nothing is as good as you think it is. It's kind of like in the middle, right? And so when I realized that, it's like you minimize the failures and you max like, and you minimize the successes as well, and you kind of live in that middle realm. When you realize that, like, there's a lot of power to that. The greater the obstacle, the greater the story is at the end of the day, because those stories make you be like, dang, like that makes the success way more like amazing. When you see Nate in a McLaren now and you see him like living a great life now, but when you hear the story of him being $100,000 in debt, when you hear him build up a millions and millions dollar company and it all get taken from him in an instant and him have to sleep on couches, that's what makes the story amazing. So I realized that when I had these stories of I had to overdraft the account, I had to put money on cards, that makes the story so much better, because then people are like, dang, like I can do this too. Because nobody, like, the stories are great, like people like them, but at the end of the day, like if somebody's like, hey, everything went perfect, I did 10 applications, I literally set 10 appointments, I set 10 applications, like 10 applications, 10,000 APV, everything got approved, yay, let's go. It's like, okay, like not many people are like that, right? And so it makes you more relatable, and it makes it easy to be like, dang, I was there. Like I've been there, I've done that. And so when an agent's going through something, you're like, dude, here's my story. I know you can make it out if you don't quit. It's mindset.
Yeah, and you got to document that. That has to be. And I'm loving that you're going to be doing some stuff like that on social media, because it is all about the story. It definitely is all about the story. And like you said, the bad ones, and then you see the success after, it just makes it all that more grand, for everyone. Well, man, Johnny, I'm so glad that you just took this time out to be with us here today on the Rainmaker podcast for Arturo Johnson Consulting, man. You're an inspiration, dude. I that's all I can say. You are definitely an inspiration. So if you ever watch this show again or whatever, and you hear me say, boom, baby, know it came from Johnny, right?
I love it, man. I love it. Thanks.
Man, but
thanks for having me, brother. Appreciate you.
Oh, yeah, most definitely, man. I definitely appreciate you for being here, man. And is all of your handles at Johnny Nitafan 1?
So Instagram at Johnny Nitafan 1, because my original account got lost.
Okay.
And then Facebook at Johnny Nitafan, TikTok at Johnny Nitafan.
Okay.
Follow my podcast as well. Every Friday it comes out.
What's it called?
One. We got a new. It's called From Unknown to Unforgettable.
Okay.
And so so that's what it's called. And so it's just on my YouTube channel. Just look up Johnny Nitafan. It'll pop up.
Okay.
My wife and I are doing a private Q&A behind the scenes of Ultimate Agent experiences, favorite coaches, like biggest takeaways, how the things have been after. So that's gonna be really fun. But yeah, just be on the lookout for a lot of content, just documenting the journey,
Absolutely.
things I'm learning along the way, and I'm excited to see you at the top, brother.
All right, man. You too, man. We'll get there. I know you will, and I know I will. Well, look, thanks once again for being here, man. And thank you, the listening audience, and the watching audience, for tuning in to the Rainmaker Podcast. And make sure that you subscribe, and also check out our website at ArturoJohnsonConsulting.com. Until next time, we'll see you then.